country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 20.
Okay, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutation you Akim out there that's been pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. There's a TikTok video out there of Joe Biden making a speech. And Joe Biden said, our country, this is not my country. America is doomed because of African Americans, Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But he specified African Americans, which is of the Southern tribe, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. He didn't mention anything about the other tribes because the video got cut short. But you got this nigger woman and some dude in the background listen to the speech. But you got to realize one thing. The 2/3 you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans voted Joe Biden in. And around the time he got voted in, you had women on the Capitol twerking up the stairs, a twerk dance for Joe Biden because he got in the office. And look what he's doing. Look what he's going to do. Look what he has done. Nothing for you niggas. One thing he's going to do to you niggas, he's going to allow Interpol, the National Guards, the UN troops to sharpen that sword against y'all and to put you to death on a large scale. Those who don't get put to death are going to get caught off to concentration camps. Those of you that don't starve due to the famine, you're going to be carted off into concentration camps. Those of you who don't get your head bashed in by these Gurkha troops, these UN troops, Interpol, which is the International Police Force, you're going to be snatched up, tossed to the concentration camp, and given the MOTB. And we've been warning y'all, week in and week out, literally pleading with y'all to come back and observe the Lord's statutes and commandments and get right and get your house in order. Your house is your body, your mind. Get your house in order and come serve the Lord in truth and sincerity. You see, the doors of mercy is closing. And you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you choose to indulge in everything that's contrary to the Lord's statutes and commandments. Now, the next thing you're going to indulge yourself in is Valentine's Day, then Easter. You'll have not a true understanding of Easter because that word was put there. But you're going to learn the hard way. I have a few scriptures. Abarat you Akimat will be edified, and we're going to get straight into it. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak down the ears of my people. Who's the Lord's people? First and foremost, who's the Lord is talking to when he said, behold, speak down the ears of my people? The words of prophecy. He's talking to his prophets. He's talking to his prophets. Who's the Lord's people? You Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans on down to Issachar, which is the so-called Mexicans. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim on down to Issachar consists of the 12 tribes of Israel, the Lord's people. Behold, speak down the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Let's read it again. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Let you know these are not our words. You're despising what we say. You're saying we speaking harshly, but we coming at you with the words of the Most High. And the words of the Lord is not all good, it's harsh. Why do you think they put to death the prophets in the ancient world? Because they spoke harshly to the people. They didn't sugarcoat anything. If you are a true prophet, a true man of the Lord, you are not going to sugarcoat anything. You are going to bring out the words of the Most High. Whether they were here, whether they were forbear, whether it's harsh words, soft words, you're going to bring it out. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. We're not to fear anything that you imagine against us. Started with Esau, trickling it down to the 2/3 you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It says that's a part of the 2/3 club pursuant to Zechariah 13:8. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Now that word incredulity means unbelief. The only ones who can't and who won't believe the words of Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh is the 2/3. It says, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Who come up against us all the time? Mainly you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, our own people. Why? Because the words we are speaking, they don't want to accept it because first and foremost, they're part of the 2/3. And secondly, they look at us as being, nigga, you a fucking nigga. I knew you said you was growing up. Obviously, you want to profess that you're a prophet. But I guarantee you, if Esau, the so-called white man, was out there on the highways and the byways, it would be crowds of people. Crowds of you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans listening to the words of Esau. Because you look at that devil like he's a god or something. It says, I'm gonna start from let me read it from the top again. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. The words of the Lord are faithful and true. It says, fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity, the unbelief of you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, of them trouble thee that speak against thee. And they speak against us by calling us pedophiles, rapists, call us bums. And if they could put us to death, they'll put us to death, man. But the Lord has that hedge around us. And that's why they can't do nothing against us. But they can slander us, do words, such as calling us rapists, calling us pedophiles. You had this one woman said, watch your 9-year-old daughters around Great Millstone. There's no evidence of any man in Great Millstone, starting with the Apostle Tower on down, raping anybody. If that was the case, we'd all be locked up under the jail, which is total slander and bullshit. And all of you people are going to pay for everything you have said about us. You Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you dumb monkeys, y'all going to pay. It says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world. We see plagues upon the world. That's that COVID shit, AIDS, cancer, malaria, hepatitis, you name it. Those are plagues. But the ultimate plague is going to be them thermonuclear missiles, pursuant to Zechariah 14:12. So it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And that's exactly what you see. You see the sword, you see famine, you see the sword, and you see death and destruction. And it's happening throughout the four corners of the earth. These are the doings of the Lord, Yahweh, and his son, Yahweh Shah. And we've been telling you, and it's going to come to America on a large scale, and 2/3 of you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're going to fall by the sword. You hear the president, the so-called president, who's nothing but a puppet, said that America is doomed. Our country is doomed because of African Americans. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I tell you what he mean by that. He see a large rising up of Hebrew Israelites coming back and calling on the true name of the Lord Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shah. And these Edomites are being, great fear is falling upon them. Pursuant to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Great fear is falling upon us. They see a rise of Hebrew Israelites. They call it Hebrew Israelism. But it's the Hebrew Israelites, the true men of the Lord, started with the elect, rising up, and the Lord's and the Lord is setting this in order before they face. And they don't like it. They are greatly in fear. Another one, Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. We stand in great boldness of such as has afflicted us. And tell them they're going into slavery, they're going down, and great fear is falling upon them. Why do you think Joe Biden made that statement? Joe Biden said our country is doomed because of African Americans. It's not a coincidence he said that. The rise of the Hebrew Israelites is throughout the four corners of the earth, but it overtook America by storm. And these devils, they watching, they taking heed, and they scared. And we've been warning you. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. That we telling you, the sword is coming upon the earth because what Esau is doing, they manufacturing a famine. Or orchestrated by the Lord, but on the left-hand side. He using Esau to produce this mass famine. It says, the sword, pursuant to Jeremiah 15, 1-3, Ezekiel 21, verse 9-12, that sword is being sharpened. And is being directed towards you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But you think these devils, which are the biblical Edomites, that they call themselves Caucasians or so-called white men, love you. This hatred goes back to Cain and Abel, reincarnated to Jacob and Esau, if you can receive that. This is a perpetual hatred going back to the ancient world. When Jacob supplanted Esau out of his birthright and supplanted him out of his blessings. This is a perpetual hatred that Esau have against you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Why would Joe Biden say our country is doomed because of African Americans? Because you see the rise of the Hebrew Israelites. And they're afraid. They are afraid. So they're going to do whatever they have to do to get rid of you niggas. And that's the Lord on the left-hand side using Esau. Psalm 17, verse 13. King David prayed to the Most High to deliver him from the wicked, which is thy sword, from the hand of the men of this world. That's Esau, roughly paraphrasing that scripture. To prove who's the wicked, Malachi, the 1st chapter, the 4th verse. Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Who run the world? These are things you have to consider. Things you have to acknowledge. Things to consider. These devils ain't playing. It says, behold, it says, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. What's a part of the wickedness? The alphabet soup community, this gang banging, this culture of death that these rappers are pushing, adultery, just to name a few. It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. It says, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. We continually complaining to the Lord in our prayers. Our spirits is crying out to the Lord, man. Those that's came back unto the fold under the shadow of that's dwelling under the wings of the shadow of the Almighty. What we paraphrase in Psalms 90, the 91st chapter, it's only going to get worse, man. And now you hear it from the devil's mouth. Joe Biden said our country is doomed because of African Americans, because of the rise of the Hebrew Israelites. That's all he's saying. He just didn't mention that because they cut the video short. But if you have a spiritual mind, you will see and you will discern what he's talking about. It says, I will hold my tongue no more. Behold, he said, therefore said the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. And they wicked legislation, pursuant to Isaiah the 10th chapter, the 1st verse, their unrighteous decrees, the laws that they passing, the wickedness that's running rampant in the society, the books that they publish, confusing your children, the wickedness they spread through the media, which is the way they cast their spells upon people, also the music. It's crazy, man. It says, behold, the innocent and the righteous blood cry unto the Lord, and the soldiers of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Modern day Egypt and spiritually Egypt is America. How did the Lord bring out the Israelites from the under the clutches of the Egyptians in the ancient world? With a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. This time, the strangeness of his salvation, which is talked about in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the 1st verse on down, and how the Lord's going to take Esau out of his power seat. 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, the 1st verse on down. So it's going to be spectacular how you're going to bring out Israel with a mighty hand, first and foremost, the elect, the 1/3, with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite this place with plagues, as in the days of Egypt. Because this is spiritually Egypt. So like it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And will destroy all the land thereof. How? Through thermonuclear destruction and concentrated fire from them chariots when Yahweh shall crack them skies, bringing death, destruction, and deliverance. Death and destruction to the 2/3, Esau, and the rest of the nations, and deliverance to his elect. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishments that the Lord will bring upon it. That's why you see earthquakes in diverse places in America. You see fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes. That's breaking this place apart, man. Those are the plagues that the Most High is bringing upon it. It says, they that till the ground shall mourn the farmers. For the sea shall fail through the blasting of hell, and for a fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth near, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's what's going to happen, man. And we see what's going on right now in the cities across America, and throughout the four corners of the earth. This is what we see. For there shall be sedition among men. Sedition is an uprising against a government or a monarch. And we see that. Protesting in America and protesting throughout the four corners of the earth. Now you got protesters over this dude, Tyree Nichols, that got beat down by police. He got put to death, protesting in Atlanta, protesting in New York City, California. But you don't hear this on the news. But there's all kinds of sedition going on. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, innovating one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're going to do what they want. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Why? Because it's going to be martial law, food scarcity, food scarceness. All hell's going to be breaking loose. Men shall be afraid. So how much more you women? You feminist women who don't need a man. You tough, masculine nigger women who feel you could beat the shit out of a man. You don't need no man. You can protect yourself. We're going to see in those days how well you fare. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's what's coming. And that's exactly what Joe Biden is talking about. Joe Biden said our country is doomed because of African Americans, which are truly biblical Israelites. We're not African American. We are the biblical Israelites from prospective tribes. It says, I'm gonna jump to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 68. Then I'm gonna close it out. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Kindled over who? You Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that's dwelling in America, mainly the 2/3 of you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. What's that burning wrath of a great multitude? That's Esau's military. Whether it's the UN troops, Gurkha troops, Interpol, National Guard, the average neighborhood police stations. That's that burning wrath of a great multitude that's going to be kindled over you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Once again, why would Joe Biden make that statement? Things to consider, man. Just sit back and analyze things and get your head out the sand and be circumspect and look and watch. Open your ears, open your eyes, and see what's going on. But you're not going to do that. Because the Lord blinded you pursuant to Isaiah, the 6th chapter, the 9th verse. You have been blinded. It says, 2nd Ezra 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle, being locked in them concentration camps with things offered unto idols, which is that MOTB. That's Sehib. We tell you, the Spirit have the apostles and the bishops and the elders of Great Millstone bringing us out hot and heavy now. Because it's a heavy topic, and it's clear as day. Massive receipts prove what we're saying. But yet still you have certain groups saying that the MOTB is sin. Which still totally don't make no kind of sense, man. And that burning wrath is being kindled. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in a reproach and trodden underfoot, because you're going to be doomed pursuant to Revelation 14 and 8 and 9. You're going to be doomed. You're going to get put to death, to be frank. It says, and they that consent, it says, and they that consent unto them should be had in derision and in the reproach and trodden underfoot, For there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying them, those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, throw them in a concentration camp. Waste and take away their goods and cast you headfirst into a concentration camp. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Because the Lord said his chosen, his men shall eat and be taken care of in that day. I'm going to let you hear this right here one more time, even though they cut the video short, but let's listen to what Joe Biden is saying.
Country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 20...
You see how they cut it short? You see how they cut it short? They cut it short for a reason. It is what it is. Wake up. Be circumspect. Because this devil is going to come down having great wrath, pursuing the Revelation 12 and 12. Shalom.